Hello, everyone. Welcome to Newcastle Fans TV. So today I'm asking two Atlanta United fans, AJ from Atlanta Fan TV and Jay in Atlanta, who's one of our members. Both of those lads are season ticket holders and watch Atlanta week in, week out. But I'm going to be asking those two all about Darren Eales. Who is he? What did he bring to Atlanta? And what will he bring to Newcastle? You need to stay tuned to this. Let's get on with it. I've got Jay in Atlanta, who we all know has been on the channel a few times over the last few years. And we've got AJ. The last time Atlanta were on our channel was when Miggy Almiron joined in January. Was it 2019, 2018? I've lost track when it was, but it was about 2.5 years ago. How are you both?
Doing great, man. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Doing great. Glad to be here, Lee.
Yeah, so of course the video we all know it's about Darren Eales, the title's there, but look, Newcastle fans haven't got a Scooby-Doo who he is. So I thought, you know what, let's get two experts who know all about Atlanta, what he's brought to that franchise, what he's done with the community, the stadium, how it's grown, how he has won trophies, and we want a little bit of that in Newcastle. Of course we do. I want to come to you, AJ. Can you tell us where Atlanta were before Darren Eales come in?
We didn't have a team. Basically, he helped incept Atlanta United into existence. Probably had a hand in creating the name Atlanta United as well. Yeah, there were some Atlanta Silverbacks fans that probably were a little salty that they didn't choose them, but I think it was important that he created something out of nothing in MLS.
Jay, did you know much about? Obviously, you've just had a new football team. It kind of still fairly in its infancy. And Atlanta's got this massive stadium and it's packed out, it's full out every year. What's his role being at the club? Can you tell us what's his day-to-day life at Atlanta?
Sure. So, when he first came over here, he was with the club years before our first match. And most of us fans didn't know that much about him, but he was from Tottenham, right, in a big club. And so, suddenly it's like, wow, the owner of Atlanta United, Arthur Blank, is quite a savvy businessman. And we were like, wow, this guy seems to have gone to England and got somebody that knows the difference in soccer and football for sure, and brought him over here to manage this. And he's always been the president of the club. And that is not exactly a title that translates really well to the EPL. Here, presidents will kind of do things that are director of footballish as well. They'll do technical hires and they'll do front office business. CEOs in England can kind of do what they want, but they usually have a football guy beside them. But he's sort of dueled both of those roles. He was certainly involved in some of the best moves of the club. He hired the man that runs our player acquisition, Carlos Bocanegra, a former U.S. player. He also had to have been critically involved in the hiring of our first coach. AJ, I don't know if it was Eales or Tata first, but it was real close right there. And he just set us up and got us running and built the machine. I think the key thing is that with the new stadium as well, which is very large, it's beautiful, but it was built for American football. He had to have been the part that makes that stadium kind of work as a football stadium as well, too, because it should be too big. It shouldn't work, but it actually is amazing to watch MLS in over there. And he had to have been part of all that and the branding. He just seemed to have worn a lot of hats and did a lot of things. And in my opinion, executed most of those tasks at an extremely high level and brought a tremendous amount of class to the organization.
Interesting. AJ, would have Atlanta been as successful without him?
Yeah, I think it's clear that he definitely brought us to a different level. Atlanta sports definitely it was sputtering. It's mediocre for a very long time. Definitely, he knew what he was getting in with Darren Eales, bringing him on.
Jay, I wanted to ask you, because Newcastle have massively lacked under Mike Ashley engagement with the supporters. Did he have that? Do you have that with the supporters in the community?
Absolutely, in a way that is just completely beyond epic. He is famous for tweeting these cryptic dual meaning tweets with players and things like that, because the Atlanta fan base is pretty rabid. Like, the people who really care about the team deeply care about the team, and you can find them on all the social media. And he just played right into that very cleverly too, with just dual meaning tweets. most people that I'm aware of really like Darren Eales personally, and they feel that they identify with the club that is acting in a professional manner. There have been some challenges in the last, that not everything is always perfect, but I feel that Darren Eales has been more of the face of the club than maybe even the club would. That may not have been what they designed, right? But he speaks so well. And additionally, he appears on talk radio here in Atlanta pretty regularly. And the show that he is on, they're kind of, they're afternoon drive time guys, and they'll give it to you. And he can really bat the ball around with them and kind of go right to the edge. They're always kind of like provoking him to say something more about another team that we're having some issue with. But he's always very professional about it. And he's just very, in my opinion, very likable and easy to understand. And I think he knows what the fans kind of want. And from a very high position in Atlanta United, he appeared quite personable to me. So I think that is an asset for Newcastle. That's my take.
Interesting. I do like the photo that on Twitter where he's cuddling the trophy in bed. I do like it. I do like it. It shows a bit of personality, doesn't it? But AJ, I'll come to you with this. Are you worried about Atlanta now? You've lost them.
Yeah, I would say definitely. Large in part, though, yeah, he will be missed in Atlanta for sure. He definitely brought a different personality to front offices that we've seen in the past, where you don't really see the front-facing, CEO types. Large in part, I think the majority of the fans will miss him. He, definitely in a large bit of it, super personable, like Jay was saying. And I think personally, just a little tidbit here for those that didn't know, but had a late girlfriend pass away, and the team sent something, in that time, and it was definitely very heartfelt, and I definitely appreciated that to the core, and we'll never forget it.
I want to talk a little bit, Jay. I want to come over to Newcastle, and why has PIF, Amanda Stavely, the Reuben brothers, gone for Darren Eales over everyone else?
My guess would be because of what he's done with the brand, specifically of Atlanta United. He took it from nothing to the top. I don't know if we're still the most valuable club, but we always are measured in the last few years in the top. And Newcastle, what Newcastle needs for the new financial regulations is they must grow their brand. As we grow our brand, and then the spending caps are going to kick in over the next 3 years rolling. It'll go to 70%. It'll reduce down to 70% over the next few years. And the easiest way that Newcastle can increase its available money year over year is to grow its brand. And that will be beyond I'm even from Atlanta, I'm aware of the problems with getting tickets right now. Almost every other Newcastle video is like, well, we can't get tickets. Now the club is good. So they're going to need to not just saturate the Newcastle area, they're going to need to saturate the global market. And I think they chose him because he demonstrated with material results that are measurable that he understands how to do that. And I think that is the number one reason. Also, I'm certain Dan put in a word for him, right? Because I didn't know they worked together back in the day. I only found that out today, but I bet he put in a voucher for him as well, too. So that's probably why they did that, is my guess.
That was just the next question I want to ask you, Jay, about Dan Ashworth. He's worked with him for a few years. I think it was 3 years at West Brom. Is that a big factor? He's got one in the door. He's got one of his, not pals, but someone he's knows in the past. Look, this guy, I know what he's like. I think Dan Ashworth has had a say in the appointment.
I absolutely think so. Because it's a lot's on Dan, right? I'm saying he's a younger guy with a good track record, but now he's in the deep end of the pool. And if I were in his position, I would choose somebody I was extremely comfortable with. I would not want to choose somebody that I had an adversarial relationship with, and that must have been a big part of that. Because Darren's on the board. If you go to the Newcastle Wikipedia page, he's already listed as a board member there. So that's real power. And since Dan will be expected to make the football happen, right, then he needs to know that it would be in his best interest to ensure that somebody's making the business happen is not at odds with him. So I think he had a lot to say about that. I would say that I would bet Dan would have actually had the power to say, I know this guy and I don't want him. I'm not saying he could have stopped everybody, but I think in this case, if Dan didn't want him, he wouldn't be there, is my guess.
Interesting. AJ, I'll come to you. I've got a question for you in a second, but just staying on Newcastle, Jay, as well. Now with Darren Eales coming in, do you see Amanda Stavely and Mia Dad taking a step back? They're not going to be there day-to-day running of the club. they'll take a step back where they might only be part-time now. And Darren Eales is like, you go, you're running, you're calling the shots, you're hiring, firing, commercial, you do all that. We'll back you from not so much afar, but from a distance.
I think they definitely have that opportunity. You know, Arthur Blank is a notorious hire and fire of people over here with high standards, and he allowed Darren Eales to run this club. Mistakes will be made in Newcastle just as they've been made here, but Darren Eales will provide them that opportunity to do that safely if they wish to. And I have full confidence that if that's what they want and they want to step back to manage other interests or not have to run the club hour by hour, I think he's a good example of somebody that can do that without it. I have no doubt about that at all.
Interesting. AJ, I'll come to you from the outside, looking over from the pond. Do you see Newcastle becoming a threat? Not so much this upcoming season, but maybe in the next 3 to 5 years. Do you see Newcastle becoming a powerhouse, or is it too early to say?
I think Newcastle, you guys have a lot of the intangibles too. You guys are a massive club. Brand name recognition, I think, worldwide. It's just a kind of dormant kind of beast that is being awaited to be released and unleashed. As an Arsenal fan, and there's a little bit of fear that, there is Bruno Guimaraes that you guys got over us in about 3 or 5 years. I think it definitely can happen.
Jay, you just wanted to mention something that not everything's been plain sailing with Eales. Tell us what you mean.
So Atlanta achieved a lot of success initially with its first coach, and its first group of players, Miggy among them, really had the same vision, the same style, the same everything. And it worked really well. And then we just made some changes, and we have to say that Darren Eales is accountable for those changes. Whether he made every one of those individually, he certainly had to sign off on them all. We went to Frank de Boer, who, as an old school guy, I was like, fine, let's play out of the back. But it didn't work because Frank de Boer and the players were just not on the same page. And it has to be said in retrospect that he was not the right coach for that group of players. And then we brought Gabriel Hines in, who I was like, wow, this is going to be awesome. And then that blew up as well because of personality decisions and lost the dressing room and things like that. These are things that happen to clubs. And if you think this isn't going to happen to Newcastle in some version, that's just not how this sport works at all. And your viewers know that. But through all that, he's put a good face on it and has tried to roll with the punches. But mistakes have been made. And I think that privately, he would probably admit that too. But I don't think we need perfection at Newcastle. We just need someone that will man the post, do the job every day, and move the brand forward. And I do think that while Darren certainly will have input on the soccer players technically, football players technically, I think that his skill in the boardroom and the brand and the economics totally outweigh any risks that are associated with those decisions. I'm sure I saw AJ nodding along. He definitely knows what I'm talking about as well.
Yeah, there's definitely I definitely agree with what you're saying, Jay. It's Darren Eales, as great as he is front facing for the front office, we would all agree that the decisions in the past probably 3 to 4 years have really affected the product on the field, and I think a lot of the fans that are upset and are annoyed are definitely pointing more towards that.
Yes, thank you very much to Jay in Atlanta and to AJ from Atlanta Fan TV. You can check out his channel in the link in the description. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more food for thought, what Darren Eales has brought to Atlanta, what he may bring to Newcastle United. I've learned something new today. Hopefully you have. Smash that like button, everybody, and we'll see you later.